In today's video, I'm going to walk you through the top 10 most common mistakes I see inside Google Ads campaigns so that you can avoid these mistakes and not waste any of your budget and generate as many leads as you can possibly be getting inside your own campaigns. So, the first one is simply just not having the right conversion tracking in place. So, if you're a service based business looking to generate leads, then you most likely want to have conversion actions set up for landing page form submissions and also for calls from your landing page or calls from your call asset. And what you want to do is make sure all of these conversion actions are successfully tracking conversions inside your campaign. And if you don't think you have this process set up correctly, what I'll do is leave the link up above to another video that you can watch after this video that walks you through how to make sure that you have all of these conversion actions successfully tracking conversions inside your own campaigns. The next one then is not using the right match types inside your campaigns. And now I don't necessarily always recommend only using exact match keywords, but what I do see quite often is I see search terms reports that most of the traffic that are getting clicks and spending budget is coming from search terms that are not relevant to the service being offered. And if you do have a search terms report like that, where most of your searches are coming from irrelevant search terms, then I'd recommend adding more exact match keywords if you have enough search volume to allow you to do so, because it's massively going to reduce the amount of irrelevant search terms that you see inside your search terms report in the first place. Or if you are using broader match types, add more negatives to your campaign to reduce the amount of irrelevant searches that you appear for in the first place. What I'd also say as well about using the wrong match types is that depending on where you're at inside your own campaign, there's times that certain match types perform best. And usually at the beginning of any new campaign, I usually just recommend using exact match for the most part, as you have much more control over the searches that you appear for, and you also have a lot less conversion data to work with. But then later on inside your campaign, after at least a few months, when you're using smart bidding and have gotten your cost per lead down quite low, and you have a clear target CPA in place, then that's when you can start considering adding in some phrase or even broad match keywords. As broad match, for example, tends to work a lot better when you're using smart bidding and already have a lot of conversion data to work with. The third mistake I often see then as well is not going to your search terms report enough and adding negatives for search terms that you do not want to appear for, and adding new keywords for search terms that are actually highly relevant to what you offer, because what you want to be doing is consistently refining your campaign to tell Google that these are the kinds of searches that I do not want to appear for, and these are the kind of searches that I do want to appear for. So that way you're consistently showing up more and more often for the searches that you do want to appear for and less for those that you do not want to appear for. And I've seen it in a lot of accounts where the search terms report mightn't have been touched for months, and then we notice that a lot of clicks have come from a search term that had no level of intent and isn't even really related to what's being offered, and there was no conversions to show for that search term. So it's always worth keeping an eye on your search terms report regularly. And the fourth one then is with some of your campaign settings. So not actually just locations, but your networks as well. I'd double check to just make sure that you have your search network and display network turned off, because it's a mistake I often see where these search partners are turned on and it just leads to a lot of low quality traffic that never really converts into conversions or paying customers. And also with your location targeting then as well, you firstly want to make sure that you have presence only selected and not presence or interest, and that you also are only targeting the locations that you actually want to target for your campaign. And this can be done either by mile radius around a specific town, or by zip code, or by the place name itself. And inside locations as well, what I can do, if you notice your ads appearing in locations that you do not want to appear for, is adding exclusions for those locations. So, for example, in this campaign, we'd recommend adding exclusions for everywhere in Ireland apart from Dublin if we had an issue with our ads appearing outside this target area. The fifth mistake I often see then is issues with the actual overall account structure. In certain cases where, for example, you're targeting different locations and you're offering different services that are worth completely different amounts or are completely unrelated to each other, in those cases, it's fine to have multiple campaigns. But for the most part, I see too often inside accounts where there are multiple campaigns where those campaigns could easily be consolidated into one campaign. And the reason why this works so much better is that the optimization process is so much quicker. because all of your budget is added to one campaign and it's not spread too thin across multiple campaigns. Because especially in campaigns like this with a really low daily budget, this campaign is only €30 per day, which is considered a really low budget for the most part. If we were to split this into three separate campaigns at a budget of only €10 each per day, then it would have been impossible to get to the point where each of those three campaigns switched from maximize clicks to maximize conversions and continuously bringing down that cost per lead. Whereas in this campaign, even though we had a low daily budget, we had all of our ad groups together in one campaign. And because of that, we were able to get our first 25, 30 conversions in the first 30 days and switch straight over to smart bidding, which continuously allowed us to get more leads each month and bring our cost per lead down as well. And what you want to do as well inside this campaign is make sure that you have all of the keywords that you're targeting split up into separate ad groups like we do here based on intent, and all of the keywords in each ad group all have the exact same intent, meaning they're all looking to get the same thing done. So that way, the ads of each ad group are highly relevant to those keywords, and the landing page that you direct that traffic to is also highly relevant. So that way, there's always clear alignment between keyword, ad, and landing page. And the sixth point there is actually what I already more or less just mentioned, but is really important to mention again is that you really want consistency throughout from the very beginning, so that you want to make sure that all of the keywords in each ad group is highly aligned. Now, if we found that this ad group wasn't performing well, then we'd actually split this up further into more ad groups based on intent. But we found that these keywords all have more or less the same intent and have performed quite well together. But the key to having clear alignment and consistency with your ads is that you want to make sure that the keywords in each ad group goes to an ad that's highly specific to the service being offered. And you also want to have a landing page then that's consistent with the ad that they clicked on. So if somebody clicks on an ad saying artificial grass installation, then you also want to bring them to a landing page that says artificial grass installation. And the reason why this is so important, having clear consistency between keyword, ad, and landing page, is that not only it improves your overall conversion rate, giving you a lower cost per lead, but it also will improve your expected click-through rate, your ad relevance, and landing page experience, which are the three components that go into determining your overall quality scores. And the higher your quality scores, the lower the cost per click. So you want to make sure Google actually likes the ads that you're running, because they'll reward you for that in terms of giving you cheaper cost per clicks, which will allow you to get more leads within your budget each month. The seventh point worth mentioning then as well is not A/B testing or regularly optimizing. And this doesn't apply to just your ads and landing pages, but also more or less everything inside your campaign, from all the individual settings to your keywords to your assets. What you want to do, for example, with your ads is that you have separate ad groups for each of the services that you offer. And if you're running three ads in each ad group, as I recommend in most cases, you want to see over time which is the clear winner. And what you want to do then is actually start A/B testing your ads and also your landing pages to continuously try and beat the previous winner. So that way, then you're consistently improving your click through rates and conversion rates and getting more leads without having to just throw more budget at Google Ads. The eighth one then is either using a generic landing page or your regular website as the final URL in your ads. So even if we used a landing page like we have here, if we directed all the traffic to the same landing page and we just had regular landscaping landing page, it would simply not perform anywhere near as well as separate landing pages for each of your ad groups that are all specific to the keywords and ads of each ad group. So you can see here, for example, if you had an artificial grass installation ad group, that you want to have that service mentioned in the headline, and you also want to go through your landing page and also make the landing page more specific to that specific service. So that way, they're far more likely to convert because you're going to reinforce that they're in the right place on this landing page, and you're not directing them to just a generic landing page that tries to cover everything in the one point. And all you would need to do for your campaign is make one really good landing page that you can call your template. And all you'd need to do then is, once you have your conversion tracking set up on your landing page, is you can duplicate that landing page as many times as you want for all of the different ad groups that you're running. And you would just change around your headlines and the information itself about the service as you go through the landing page. The ninth mistake I often see as well is when you go to all campaigns and then recommendations, is that when you go to auto apply, then I often see cases where auto apply recommendations are turned on, which I highly recommend not doing, because you're basically handing over full control to Google Ads to basically run your ads for you. And that can include things like making new ads on your behalf, adding in new keywords, adding in new assets, and even changes to your bidding strategies and settings. So you'd basically have no control over your ads anymore if you have these auto apply recommendations turned on. And what you also want to do is actually come down to your assets, and where you see more here with the three dots, you want to press that and go to account level automated assets, and then press the three dots but more again and advanced settings. And you want to check if any of these account level automated asset settings are turned on. And I also just recommend having these turned off as well, because they will allow Google to create assets on your behalf. And if you want to have your own site links, call outs, structured snippets, and so on, I'd recommend keeping this as off so you have full control over your assets as well as everything else inside your campaigns. And lastly, then as well, using the wrong bidding strategy for where you're at with your campaign. Because this campaign, for example, is now using maximized conversions with a target CPA because we've allowed the campaign to gather enough relevant conversion data early on. And if you have a campaign that's getting consistent conversions, then maximized conversions for the most part is usually the best bidding strategy to be using. But for any brand new campaigns, if you've watched much other videos on the channel, you know that I'd usually recommend using maximized clicks with a maximum cost per click bid limit at the very beginning to gather that relevant conversion data as soon as possible. And then maximize conversions tends to work a lot better rather than using it right off the bat, because that relevant conversion data, in my opinion, really allows maximized conversions to perform a lot better than if you were to just add maximize conversions without that relevant conversion data first. Now, those are the most common Google Ads mistakes that I notice in site campaigns that, if weren't in place, would save a lot of budget and also get a lot more leads each month. And now, if you do have any questions or comments at all about anything I mentioned in this video, or if you have any other common mistakes that you think I should have added to the list, feel free to leave a comment down below. And if you are a service-based business looking to further refine your own campaigns, feel free to have a look at the link in the description. And if you do like this Google Ads related content as well, feel free to leave a like and subscribe to the channel, as we'll be posting all things related to Google Ads here daily. And hopefully we'll see you inside the next video.